Now, over the years, I've done a ton of rebuilding challenges, but I think it's time for me to put all of my rebuilding abilities to the test because this is going to be the most difficult rebuild of all time. Now, what exactly is going to make this rebuild so difficult? Well, we have a handful of restrictions. Restriction number one, I can't sign anyone above an 85 overall. On top of that, I also can't trade for anyone above an 85 overall. So you might just be thinking, well, stick on the ice, you'll just trade for a bunch of rookies who have medium elite potential. Well, I actually can't do that because I'm not allowed to trade or sign anyone who has medium elite potential or higher. So your response to that comment is probably, oh, well, you can just draft those medium elite potential players and medium franchise potential players. No top 10 picks in today's video. So I can't trade or sign for anyone above an 85 overall. I can trade or sign for a player who's exactly an 85 overall, but no players above an 85. I can't sign or trade for somebody who has medium elite potential or higher. I'm not allowed any top 10 picks, and on top of all that, trade difficulty has been set to high. This is going to be my most difficult challenge yet. And if I still hadn't set enough restrictions in this video, we have 5 seasons to win a Stanley Cup. And season number 1 is literally just us simulating with our 0 overall team. So I have a lot of work cut out for me. We're going to have to make a ton of moves in offseason number 1. But in order to make those moves, we have to simulate to offseason number 1. So let's go ahead and do that. So season number 1 is all wrapped up with the Riverside Guardsmen losing every single game. We're not scoring a single goal, let alone taking a single shot. The LA Kings are Stanley Cup champions, but now it's time for the real challenge to begin because we're about to get the first overall pick in the draft because I can't use it, but I guess that's not the case. We're going to be dropping from 1 to 3, but as we all know, I'm not allowed to have a top 10 pick, so we're going to have to trade that pick to Washington. Now, I technically could cheat a little bit here because I said I'm not allowed a top 10 pick. So I can trade this 3rd overall pick away, I can get the 11th overall, and then I can pick up a couple other assets from the Washington Capitals. But I don't want to do that. I feel like I'm bending the rules a little bit too much if I do that. So I'm just going to trade the 3rd overall straight up for the 11th overall pick. Of course, the Washington Capitals are completely fleecing us. But now that we got that 11th overall pick, it's time for us to go to work. Because I don't think I can really use this 11th overall because no matter who we draft, they're not going to develop in time. So let's move the 11th overall and let's try to get some players that are going to help us in the future. So here's what I'm thinking. With the 11th overall, I'm looking to bring Capo Caco to the team. He's only an 84 overall and he has a low elite potential. Not medium elite potential or higher, only low elite potential. Riker Evans, he'd be a good defenseman for us, medium top 4. And then Mason Marchment can also be brought in. We're just getting the signing rights to Mason Marchment. Hopefully we're going to be able to get all of this for the 11th overall. It looks like we will. Maybe we could have gotten something else in that deal, but we just secured 3 great players. Now this is a bit of a high risk, high reward move, but the 34th overall sent over to the Pittsburgh Penguins. McGroarty, you have high top 6 potential. Normally you can turn into like an 87 overall player, and I'm hoping you can do that over these next 4 years. They're going to be rejecting that deal right there. I'll throw in a 7th round pick as well. Hopefully that's going to be enough to make the difference. They're still saying no. I guess I can give you a 4th rounder. So hopefully the 100th overall is going to make the difference in this deal, and it looks like it is. So McGroarty, welcome to the team. So technically we have a completed top line here. However, I would like to bring in a playmaker, but we might have to hold off until free agency for that. Now truthfully, it probably would have made sense if I just trade the rest of my draft picks away, considering we got absolutely nothing with them. However, I don't want to trade absolutely every draft pick away. We need to have some prospects in the system, whether or not they're playing for us or not. That's a completely different conversation. So moving into the re-sign phase, there's only one player we need to bring back to the team, and that is Mason Marchment. He's only looking for $3.2 million. We're going to do a 4-year deal, so that locks him down for the rest of this video. And how about we do 3.5 for the next 4 years? I think that's going to be an absolute steal with him. He should be a pretty good top 6 piece for us over the next couple of years. And then with every other expiring contract on this team, they're all going to be walking. So after re-signing Mason Marchment, let free agency begin. But we have to scroll down a little bit because as we all know, 85 overalls are the highest that we can bring to the team. So guys like Jeff Skinner, Alexiak, Jamie Benn, you're some of our top options. So yeah, I'm not really 100% sure if free agency is going to be the wave when it comes to us rebuilding our team, but I guess we'll find out over the next couple years. So we're going to start with Alex Wenberg. I'll do $4.2 million for the next 2 years. He's going to be accepting immediately, and he's going to be our first free agent signing. Moving on over to our next player, we're going to be looking at David Perron. I'm doing 3.8 for 1 season. Hopefully he's going to be willing to accept that. And Jeff Skinner, technically you are one of the best options out there, so I guess we should bring you to the team. I'll do 4.4 million for 1 season. Like, you're an 85 overall. That's the highest players we're allowed to sign and trade for. So when I have the opportunity to bring in an 85 overall, I better take it. So Jamie Benn, you're being added to that list. Here's 3.5 for the next 2 years. Jamie Alexiak, I have no clue how many elite defense I'm going to be looking at in today's video. You have a player request, which is a top 4 defenseman. Yeah, I can definitely give you that. Now we're going to get pretty aggressive with Alexiak. I'm looking to save $1 million. Can we do 5.6 for the next 3 years? I guess we can. Jamie Alexiak, welcome to the team. Now, although my focus is bringing in the highest overall players, we got to make sure that the contracts make a little bit of sense. Like Brent Burns for $6.8 million, I don't know about that one. But Vladimir Tarasenko for $2.9 million, I can 100% do that. So Tarasenko, welcome to the team when you inevitably accept that deal. Jeremy Lauzon, we'll move on to you next. I can see you being a good second pairing guy. So here's 3.5 for the next two. Tolvanen, you're probably one of the youngest players we're going to see today, so I might as well throw a contract at you. Here's 4.1 million. Gustav Nyquist, we do need a couple playmakers, so here's $3 million for 1 season. Jaden Schwartz, I can imagine you could be a good third line guy for me, so here's 2.8 million. And then after signing Jaden Schwartz, how about we bring in a Shen? It's not going to be Braden Shen, but instead Luke Shen. You can join for 1 season at 2.4. Okay, Josh Doan, I have no clue why you're available here, but you're going to be the biggest steal that we see today. Can we do a multi-year deal with you? Let's do 4 years so I can lock you down for the rest of this video. I'll give you 3.5 million. Josh Doan, welcome to the team. An absolute steal. I have no clue why you're a UFA. No, we got really lucky with Josh Doan there. There is no reason he should have been in free agency. Zamula, I'll move over to you next. Here's 3.5 million for the next 2 years. Teddy Bluger, I guess I can bring you in for 1 season. Here's 2.9 million. Jonathan Taves, you're definitely past your prime. However, for 1.6 million, you can't really be that bad on the 4th line. Now, we've signed a handful of forwards and defensemen, but we do need to bring in some goalies. And Brandon Bussey, you're one of the best options. And that kind of concerns me a little bit. So here's 2.5 for the next 2 years. When it comes to our starting goaltender, I think we're going to have to make a trade because Bussey's just not going to cut it. Merrillainen as our AHL goaltender might not be too bad though, so here's $1 million. So I think we need to bring in just a couple more defensemen, so how about we give Jacob Bryson $2.7 million for the next 2 years. And then after giving Bryson that contract, Liljegren, I guess I can bring you in as well. Here's 2.7 for the next 3. And then we'll finish it off with a couple more forward signings. Scott Lawton, also known as Sean Lawton, you already know you have to join the team. We need a stick on the ice legend here, so here's 1.8 million. And then while we're at it, Boone Jenner, you're actually interested in joining our organization, so how can I really say no? Here's 3.1 for the next 2 years. So I would say that's about all the free agent signs we have to make, so how about we go make some trades? Now I will say one thing that should help us here is the fact that we're such a bad team, our first round pick has a lot of value, and knowing that we're not allowed to have a top 10 pick, we might as well move this pick as soon as we can. So here's what I'm thinking with our first round pick. Frank Nazar and Alex Vlasic are both going to be acquired. Frank Nazar right now, he has medium top 6 potential, and he's an 85 overall exactly, so we can trade for him. Meanwhile, Alex Vlasic, medium top 4 D potential, he's an 84 overall. We're allowed to trade for him as well. We'll give up our first round pick for this season. They're saying no, but we just have to throw in a 7th. So Frank Nazar and Alex Vlasic, those are going to be 2 nice upgrades to our team. 2 guys that are basically locked down for the rest of this video, but I still don't think that's going to be enough because we need a goaltender. And when it comes to a goaltender, there is one team I'm very interested in right now. So let's head over to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Joseph Wall, what overall are you? You're an 86 overall, so we can't get Joseph Wall. All right, I don't know who we're going with now. I mean, I guess we could go with Benner, and we do have a lot of cap space. So Jordan Binnington, welcome to the team. I don't know what we're going to have to give up here, probably a 2nd rounder, but I'm not against giving up a 2nd to get Benner. So here's a 2nd round pick for 2028, Jordan Binnington, welcome to the team. It's a little bit low. I guess they need a 7th round pick. So here's a 7th round pick for 2027, Jordan Binnington, welcome to the team. I think our team's just about complete. So after looking at our roster, we've made all the trades and all the signings we have to. The only thing I have to do now is get a new coaching staff because a B overall head coach is not going to cut it. Now we have to go ahead and simulate a couple days because John Cooper was one of the coaches I wanted and I wasn't 100% sure if he would sign with us. It doesn't look like he will be signing with us, so there's only one other option when it comes to a head coach, and I've already given him an offer and it looks like he's accepting. Patrick Wall, welcome to the team. You're an upgrade from what we had. Now, on top of trying to sign coaches, there's still a couple guys who haven't accepted their deals. Vladimir Tarasenko's joined the team. Jeremy Lauzon's joined the team. David Perron's joined the team. Tolvanen's joined the team. I think we might have just got every free agent we were trying to get. You know what? Things seem to be really working out for us right now. I guess we're not really in that bad of a spot. But I guess the real question is this team consisting of basically only 85 overall players and lower going to be good enough to win a Stanley Cup? We'll find out pretty quick. So here's what our team's looking like in season number 2. Josh Doan, Frank Nazar, Mason Marchment on the top line, Jamie Benn, Wenberg, and Kapokako on the second line. This team definitely has depth. They just don't have superstars. And how could we get superstars? We're not allowed to trade or sign for anyone above an 85 overall. The only way we can get any players above an 85 overall on this team is having guys like Kapokako and Frank Nazar developing. If Frank Nazar turns into an 88 overall moving forward, that's perfectly fine because I traded for him when he was only an 85. The defense doesn't look too shabby here. here, and when it comes to goaltending, Binner and Bussy are going to hold it down for us. But the real question is this team good enough to win a Stanley Cup this season? Truthfully, I highly doubt it. But you know what? We just have to be patient. We have to let a couple of the young guys develop, and once they do that, then maybe we're going to be able to compete. Until then, there's only two things for us to do. One, simulate up to the trade deadline and then trade a bunch of expiring contracts away. And the second is having you subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 91k subs by the end of the year. Originally, it was 92k, but clearly that's just not going to be happening. But we can still hit 91k. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button down below and let's reach 91k subs by the end of the year. Now, as we're all well aware, we don't have unlimited time in this video to win a Stanley Cup. Like, we only have 4 seasons to compete for one. But you know what? Things aren't looking terrible. 17th in the entire league, a 31, 25, and 7 record. Our defense is looking pretty solid, like 2.95 goals per game right now. We need to start scoring more, and I think the only way we can start scoring more is bringing some more true goal scorers to the team. However, they have to be elite goal scorers who are an 85 overall or lower, and they can't have medium elite potential or higher. So yeah, that's quite the ask. But you know what? The team doesn't look terrible. We could potentially sneak into a wild card spot. Jordan Binnington, you're holding up your end of the bargain. You're doing everything you can to win us some games. But I think I should try to improve the team in front of you a little bit. So let's go make some moves. So I think we have to get a little bit aggressive here. Zamula, currently you're in the AHL, but you have quite a bit of trade value. So I'm going to trade you, Jenner, and Jeremy Lauzon over to the Buffalo Sabres. Josh Norris and Michael Kesselring are both going to be brought in. Norris is currently an 85 overall. Kesselring is currently an 85 overall. I could see both these guys developing into like 87 overall players by the end of the season, and I'm hoping we can get lucky. They're interested in Zamula, don't really want Jeremy Lauzon, so maybe I just give you a draft pick. Like, I could probably trade 2 third-rounders, and that would be enough to get this deal done, so I'll offer it over. Buffalo's saying no. How about we do a 3-team trade? So here's what we'll do. Jaden Schwartz and Jeremy Lauzon are going to be sent over to the Colorado Avalanche. We'll get a 2nd and 3rd rounder on top of Gavin Brindley. I think this is a really good deal for us. Now that we've completed that trade with the picks that we got, we should be able to make this deal with the Buffalo Sabres now. Alright, so our 3-team trade is actually turned to a 4-team trade. A 2nd rounder in Liljegren's going to be sent over to Nashville. Brady Martin and Reed are both going to be acquired. And then we're going to flip one of those guys, if not both of them, over to Buffalo. And then we'll finally get the deal I want to get done. So I'll throw in Colorado's 3rd round pick. Hopefully that's going to be enough. They're saying no. I'll give you another 3rd round pick. Hopefully all of this is going to be enough to get this trade done. It looks like it. Now it's time to head over to Buffalo. Okay, Buffalo, you have made this far too difficult. I am trading Zamula, Boone Jenner, and a 3rd round pick for Josh Norris. They're finally accepting this deal. Now I'm going to circle back because I still want Kesselring. So what I will give you now is Brady Martin and Reed, and this should be enough in order to get Kesselring. It probably won't be though, considering they're not interested in either of these guys. But trade value wise, we're offering more than enough, so I'll send this package over. They're saying no. What do you want? Like a 7th round pick? Here is a 6th round pick. This should be enough in order to get this one done. They're still saying no. Trade value wise, this is a very fair deal. I understand you don't want these 2 young prospects, but you will eventually accept this deal. I guess I could throw in another forward. Like, you're not really interested in Dave Perron, but I want to hold on to him. Scott Laughton. Scott Laughton is going to be the difference maker in this deal. Just give me Kesselring. Now we'll make one final trade here. Jeff Skinner, although you've been a really good goal scorer for us, have you actually not played this season? Oh, Jeff Skinner hasn't played at all for us. Okay, so this makes this trade way easier than I thought it was going to be. Trevor Moore and Alex Turcotte are both going to be acquired. I'll take Alex Turcotte out of this deal. Can we just go 1-for-1 here? Alright, this deal works out very well for us. We get Trevor Moore, a guy who's going to jump into the lineup, for Jeff Skinner, a guy who wasn't even playing any minutes for us. So those are all the moves we're making at the deadline. We'll readjust this team a little bit and then see how we're looking heading into the final half of the season. So I've gone ahead and readjusted our lines a little bit, and I do want to point out we actually have one player above an 85 on the team now. Jamie Benn has improved to an 86. When we originally brought him to the team, he certainly wasn't an 86, but you know what? Given the minutes he has, he's definitely improved for us. The forward core is looking pretty solid. The defense isn't too bad, and goaltending, well, we have Jordan Binnington, and you already know he's going to step up in the big games. But can this team actually make the postseason? We'll find out pretty quick because there's only about 20 games left. Before we move on to those final 20 games, let's give out some contract extensions, because Kesselring, I do need to bring you back to the team. You're not interested in signing, but I think we can get something done. You have some player requests, which I can certainly give you. So after a quick discussion, this is what we're going to do with Kesselring. I'm going to give him a 4-team no trade in year number 1. That is definitely not what I negotiated with him. But you know what? We're not going to worry about it. 6.6 million. I have no clue why his contract interest is so low, because it definitely wasn't like 3 seconds ago. The top team interested in him is Buffalo. Okay, I have no clue what's going on. but Kesselring, here's a contract. I don't even know what to do. Yeah, like I went through a whole negotiation with him. We basically had agreed on a deal, and then I guess things completely changed. McGroarty, I'd like to lock you down for the rest of this video. So we're going to be looking at a 3-year deal at 1.9 million. Actually, I'll make that 3 years at $2 million. So McGroarty is going to be coming back. Riker Evans, you're another guy we should negotiate a contract with. We'll do 3 years at $4 million. That should be enough to keep you around for the rest of the video. And then with everyone else, we'll probably find some replacements. Except for Binner. We do have to keep Binner on this team. And how much does he want? 6.3 million. I'm really hoping you're not going to start aging out on me. So here's 6.1 for the next 4 years. I guess worst case scenario, if you do start aging out, I can trade you away. Also, I'm fairly certain that Michael Kesselring is going to reject the offer we gave him, and he's probably going to say he's insulted by it. We're already having a new conversation with him. Bro, what's going on? During our negotiations, you never accepted the contract. We have not made any contract promises. You haven't even accepted a contract with the team. Bro is bugging. I don't know what's going on with him. You better accept that contract. Okay, it looks like he is. Yeah, I have no clue what was going on there, but Michael Kesselring, welcome back. Now, it was definitely a rough finish to the season for our guardsmen, finishing 24th in the entire league, a 37-36-9 record. We weren't winning any games after the deadline. We were allowing a lot of goals, but you know what? It might not be the end of the world, because when you take a look at this team, you can see Josh Norris is now up to an 88 overall. When it comes to Frank Nazar, I'm hoping he improved as well. It looks like he's still an 85. Jamie Benn's an 85, but we did see a little bit of progression. Alex Wenberg's an 87 overall. Who would have predicted that? So we did see some improvement across the board from a couple of our players, and we're definitely going to need that heading into next season. Jordan Binnington, you're still an 84 overall, 32 wins, 4 shots, a 911 and a 299. You were pretty solid for me. We just don't have the offense in front of you. But once I bring in a better coaching staff and we make a couple adjustments over the offseason, don't be surprised if this team's making the playoffs next season. Until then, we just have to keep on simulating. We'll head over to the draft lottery, see where our pick's going to be, and it looks like that pick is going to be the 10th overall. The fact that there was 9 teams worse than the Guardsmen is actually very surprising. Like, there is so many different restrictions I have to work with, yet we're still seeing a lot of success. Now, I decided to get a little bit risky in the draft. I was hoping to bring in somebody who has medium league potential, because we are allowed to draft players with medium league potential as long as they're not in the top 10. Unfortunately, though, all 3 draft picks were a miss, so we're not walking away with anything notable. I think the best player we got has low top 9 potential. So yeah, nothing great. Now we have $31 million in cap space, and Nyquist and David Perron probably wouldn't even be that bad for us. Like, at least they're 85 overall, so even if they're playing 4th line minutes, that's not too bad. Here's 4.6 for Nyquist. And then when it comes to David Perron, you can't really be asking for too much. You want 4.6 million. I can do 4.7 million, but with a no movement and only 1 season. Like, this is the most I'm willing to give you. David Perron, I want to keep you around for multiple years, and it looks like at 39 years old, he's going to be accepting that contract. So we're still left with $22 million heading into free agency. Ideally, we can get a better coach during free agency, and we can also get some nice upgrades to our defense. Before we go after any players or coaches in free agency, there are a lot of extensions we have to hand out, so let's get working on that. Starting with Alex Wenberg, he's looking for $6 million. I think we can do 5.5 million. I'll do 5.5 million. I'll give him 50% team protection, which is going to be 17 teams. I think that's a pretty good contract, and it looks like he's agreeing because he's going to accept immediately. When it comes to Jamie Benn, he's looking for multiple seasons. I don't really want to do multiple years. I can do 4.5 for 1 year, though. I highly doubt he's going to accept that, though. Tolvanen, I wouldn't mind keeping you around, but it has to be the right price. Could we do 5 million for the next 2? It looks like it, but how about we try to save a bit more money? 4.8 for the next 2 seasons. So he's going to be sticking around. Capo Caco, I'd like to keep you around. And you know what? We can save a little money with this deal. So here's 3.2 for next season. Trevor Moore, we need a playmaker on the team, and you fill that role. So here's 3.2 million for the next 3 years. It looks like he's accepting immediately. Tarasenko, you're more than likely going to be walking. I'm actually not even 100% sure if you're going to be in the lineup. Gavin Brindley, you certainly will be in the lineup. And for 2.3 million, I think that's an absolute steal. And then when it comes to Jonathan Taves, Bryson, and a lot of the other guys here, we're probably just going to be letting them walk. Except for Brandon Bussey. Here's 800K for 2 seasons, an absolute steal. So it's time for us to move into free agency and find some absolute stars that are going to be joining the team. And who are these stars? Potentially Pavel Zacha. I don't think he would actually be that bad of a pickup for us. How many goals did he score last season? 26 goals. He could be a decent player, but at 7.2 million, I don't really know how I feel about that. Then again, he is one of the best options out there. I think we almost have to go with him. I mean, before we sign Zacha, Brendan Dillon, here's 6.7 million for 1 year. And then Pavel Zacha, I'm gonna regret this, aren't I? You want to be on one of our power play units? I guess I can give that to you. All right, so this is what we're gonna do with Pavel Zacha. $6 million for the next 2 years, a 21 team no trade, and I've also guaranteed him a top spot on our #1 power play. Hopefully he's gonna be accepting immediately. It doesn't look like it. If he doesn't accept, we could be in a tough spot. Also, there are a couple other players I'm looking at signing. Luosterainen, you wouldn't be too bad for us. I can normally find you on a pretty cheap deal, so how about I do 2.5 for the next 3 years? Luosterainen, welcome to the team. And I think we could use one defenseman. And Radko Gudas, although you're very old at this point, here's $3.5 million for 1 season. So now that we've made those moves in free agency, it probably wouldn't hurt if we made a trade or two. So let's go and try to do that. All right, now this might be a massive overpayment, but I see the vision. Vladimir Tarasenko and a first-round pick sent over to Pittsburgh. Patrick Laine with $2 million retained. We also get 2 third-rounders. I think Patrick Laine could be an amazing sniper for us. He's one of the best options out there. I think if we play him on the top line, he might develop to like an 87, maybe an 88 if we're lucky. They're going to be rejecting because they don't want to retain that much money. How about you just don't give me one of those third-rounders? I'm perfectly fine if you don't give us any draft compensation. I just want you to retain a little bit of money, and it doesn't look like that's going to be happening. So we're taking on the full $8 million. So if that's going to be the case, how about you give me 3 second-round picks? Like, I'm giving you a very valuable first-round pick. You can give me these second-rounders right here, and it looks like we're finally getting a deal done. All right, with our next deal, this is what we're looking at. A second-rounder, Capo Kakko and Jamie Alexiak sent over to St. Louis. We're bringing in Jake Neighbors as well as Philip Broberg. We're also going to be able to free up a little bit of money in this deal. We're getting 2 guys that fit the criteria. I like that move right there. Now, there is a possibility that all those guys we went after in free agency, we're not going to be able to get all of them. However, I still think we're in a better spot after making the trades we have. So let's head over to Jake Neighbors and have a quick conversation with him. How much does he want? He wants 5.1 for 1 season. If we did 3 years, can I lock you down for the rest of the video at 5.1? It looks like it. So Jake Neighbors, hopefully you're going to be accepting that contract. You'd be an amazing addition to our team. Now, Pavel Zacha, I think you're going to be an amazing addition to the team. Radko Gudas, you can definitely play a role. Gavin Brindley's accepting. Luosteranen's accepting. We are getting everyone that we wanted, except Jamie Benn. I guess he's not going to be extending with the team, but I think we kind of knew that. Now, so far, things seem to be working out for us. Josh Norris is now up to an 88 overall. Wenberg is an 87 overall. The players that we have acquired so far have continued to improve. Like McGroarty is up to an 85 overall. He's going to be playing some good third line minutes this season. I think this team could potentially make the playoffs. Are we going to win a Stanley Cup this season? I'm not 100% sure, because I don't know if I really believe in a lot of the players we have here. Like, our defense is okay. We don't have any superstars, but we have a bunch of guys that can play their roles here. And then when it comes to Benner and Bussy, well, they're both 82 overalls. Honestly, I think Benner's going to hold us back a little bit too much this season. I just gave him a big $6 million extension. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But you know what? We have a better coaching staff this season. We have a better team across the board. I think we can be a wildcard team this season. I don't think we're going to be blowing anyone out this season, but I don't think we're going to be getting blown out either. I think every game we play is going to be a competitive one, and I think there's a real possibility we can compete with the best this season. Now, things are just not working out for our guardsmen. We are one of the worst teams in the entire league right now. Maybe we're not quite as bad as I thought, but 26th in the entire league with a 27-30-7 record. This isn't it. We don't have a great offense, and we don't have a great defense. I don't know how we're going to improve this team. Maybe we have to go out there and get some more defensive defensemen. I think we might just need 1 offensive defenseman and then like 5 defensive defensemen. Josh Norris, you've been pretty solid so far this season. Kesselring hasn't been bad either. Patrick Laine, I can't really complain about what you've done. 26 goals for us. I brought you in to be a goal scorer, and that's exactly what you've been. I'm seeing a lot of positive plus minuses when it comes to our top 6 guys, so maybe it's our bottom 6 holding us back, and it seems like that's the case. Brendan, Dillon, and Gudas. Okay, we are going to trade both of you guys right now, because clearly you're a big part of the problem here. Like minus 23 and minus 13. The rest of the team, honestly not that bad, but you 2 guys, yeah, it's not working. Also, Benner, a 901 to 311, not the greatest numbers in the world, but considering the defense I have in front of you, I guess I can't really be too mad right now. Alright, so this is what I think we're going to do. Brendan Dillon and Mason Marchment sent over to the Anaheim Ducks. I'm looking to bring in Zellweger. He can be one of our good offensive defensemen on the top line. We're going to get rid of Brendan Dillon. We're going to change up the lineup a little bit, but I would like to get another defensive defenseman. I just don't know which team we're going to be getting that player from. So Dillon and Mason Marchment are being sent over. They're saying no. I guess I can take Michael Carcone thrown out of the deal. He doesn't really matter too much. I mean, he actually does matter quite a bit because he's a pretty big stick on the ice legend. But in this deal right here, I'm not really too focused on getting him. I'll throw in a 3rd round pick as well. Hopefully that's going to be enough. They're still saying no. I know we do have a couple young prospects, so maybe I can throw one of them in the deal. Like, are you interested in this medium top 6 potential player? Maybe he can be the difference maker. Of course he isn't. Why would he? So maybe we just give up our 2nd round pick for 2029 to get this deal done. The Ducks are going to be accepting, but we still need to pick up a defensive defenseman from somebody. So I think what the final deal will be is Riker Evans sent over to the Tampa Bay Lightning. We bring in Eric Chernak, and then more than likely Radko Gudas, you'll just be a healthy scratch moving forward. Bryson, I'll call you up and you can play some 3rd pairing minutes. Maybe I can trade Radko Gudas in this deal. I highly doubt he's going to be the difference maker, but I guess he will be. Now I'm hoping that this new defense right here can be the difference maker for us. Do we have a bunch of superstars that can carry the way? It doesn't look like it. However, I do think we're in a better spot because we have more defensive defensemen here. Brandon Bussey, more than likely you're taking over as the starter moving forward. Don't be overly surprised if we get a new starting goaltender heading into next season. I don't think we're going to be able to make the playoffs because I think we're too deep in a hole. But next season, I wouldn't be overly surprised if we're making the playoffs. It also doesn't help we're 1-6-3 in our last 10 games. So we're not doing ourselves any favors. No, I don't think we were really any better after the trade deadline. We were still one of the worst teams in the entire league, 24th to be exact, a 36-38-8 record. I need this team to take the next step next season. I need our offense to be significantly better. I even need our defense to be better. I just need this team across the board to be better next season. Josh Norris is an 87 overall, Pavel Zacha is an 86, Patrick Laine is an 85, Kesselring's an 86, Wenberg's an 87. So we do have some decent overalls on this team. Whether or not these guys are going to step up next season, I'm not 100% sure. Like, we definitely have some of the best depth in the entire NHL right now. However, our main problem is we don't have any superstars. We are lacking superstars on this team, and that's what's hurting us right now. The Edmonton Oilers are Stanley Cup champions. The Washington Capitals put up a good fight as a wildcard team, but I guess it just wasn't enough. We only have 2 more seasons left to win a Stanley Cup, so we need to make the playoffs next season. Also, it seems like things worked out perfectly once again for us. The 1st round pick that we traded away ended up being the 10th overall, so we're in the exact same position we were last season. However, I think heading into next season, we're ready to take the next step, or at least that's what I'm telling myself, because we have to have a little bit of hope. Now, although this lowly potential player is going to develop quick enough for us, I do want to highlight them. A 51 overall sniper who scored 0 goals last season. Alright, bro is a complete fraud. We have $20 million and we're going to see 4 players lead the team. Jamie Benn, Bryson, Dave Perron, and Jonathan Taves. Honestly, Jamie Benn, we might be able to keep you around. As a 4th line guy at $4 million, that is not terrible at all. So Jamie Benn, you actually will be the long guy sticking around. Of course, we'll sign these rookies right here, but the main goal over the offseason is getting a new goaltender, because Benner, unfortunately, you're just not going to cut it anymore. So 90% of our team's locked down. The only thing we have to do here is handle some extensions. Pavel Zacha, I'll promise you a 1st line role on this team. And once I do that, I'm 90% sure you're returning to the team. So with Pavel Zacha, we'll do $6.7 million for the next 2 years. He's promised a top 6 role. Nyquist, more than likely you'll leave after this season. But when it comes to Zellweger, of course, we have to lock him down. 6.5 for the next 3 years. I don't hate that deal, but with those extensions handed out, let's go get our goaltender. I don't know who our goalie's going to be, but we'll find somebody. So I think this is who our new goalie's going to be. Jordan Bainton, a 2nd round pick, being sent over to Seattle. Joey Decord, welcome to the team. I've seen what you've been able to do in NHL 26. Now I need you to do it with the Guardsmen. Now before we try to pick up anyone in free agency, Scott Wedgwood, I'm bringing you in for 2 years at $800K. We need somebody in the AHL to play for us, and you're going to be that guy. But now that we've done that, give me 1 defenseman, and then I think we're ready to roll. But on top of getting a defenseman, Kopitar is interesting because he fits the criteria. I think he could be a good player. Even Tyler Toffoli wouldn't be a bad pickup because both these guys still have X factors. Yeah, Kopitar, I'm bringing you to the team. Giving you a 2-year deal at this point in your career probably isn't the right decision, but you know what? I want Kopitar to join this team. Here's 4.5 for the next 2 years. Hopefully you're going to be accepting that. And then we just need 1 cheap defenseman. I really don't care who that guy is. I just don't want them to age out on us. Jonas Brodin, I think you could definitely be that player for us. Here's 2.4 for 2 seasons. I know you're 34 years old, just don't see some crazy regression over the offseason and we'll be fine. Also, hold on, Jordan Spence, 1.2 million? Yeah, it's a steal. Alright, so I guess we're not walking away with Jordan Spence, but honestly, that's not the end of the world because we still have a pretty talented defense. I do believe we still need 1 player though. So who do we want to bring in for 1 season? Josh Manson, you can play good defensive minutes for me. However, the last time I brought in an older defenseman, that didn't work out for us. So Bryson, welcome back to the team. Last season, you played some games for me. Now I want you to play some more games for me. Also, in case that doesn't work out, Adam Boquist, here's 1.6 million. And then Samuel Bolduc, I'll bring you in as well. So Samuel Bolduc, $1 million for 1 season. Am I tripping? Did I give Michael Kesselring a no trade clause? I do not recall giving him a no trade clause. Maybe I'm bugging and I did give him that, but I never give out no trade clauses. If I'm going to give you a no trade, I'm giving you a no movement. Yeah, I don't know what just happened here, but you know what? We're not going to worry about it. Now I'm hoping that we can maybe figure it out this season. I think we have a lot of amazing players on this team that have a lot of talent, but is it going to be enough? Can this team somehow make it into the postseason? Yes, we don't have any superstars right now, but we have a lot of guys on this team that can play their role. We have an 85 overall goaltender that's not regressing. Is this team good enough to make the playoffs? We'll find out pretty quick. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for once, I actually have some good news. The Riverside Guardsmen are currently in a postseason spot. 14th in the entire league is a wildcard spot. A 35-25-4 record. We are scoring 3.16 goals per game, but allowing 3.06. That can't continue. We need to make this team slightly better. Patrick Laine, 49 points isn't going to cut it. Pavel Zacha, 46 points, that's not going to cut it. I need this team to be slightly better. We have the pieces here. I need some of you guys to step up. Gavin Brandley, you're an A7 overall with X Factors. Tolvanen, you're an A7 overall with X Factors. We have a lot of guys here that have X Factors, and that's good because we know how important X Factors are. Josh Norris, you have 36 points this season. I'm expecting more from you. I need you to be one of our big-time performers. Joey Decord, you're posting some pretty good numbers. You've been the guy for us, but I think we have to make a move here. I just don't know what that move is. Like, somehow I need to find some superstar goal scorer who is only an 85 overall and doesn't have medium league potential or better. How on earth is that going to be possible? I couldn't tell you. Kulik, are you a superstar goal scorer? You have 15 goals this season. You are clearly not that guy. Now, I've gone through just about every team, and I think the only guy who might fit our criteria is JJ Peterka. He's dropped to an 84 overall. I think we might have to take the risk on him. We might have to take a risk on a guy like JJ Peterka, because outside of him, I don't know if we're going to get any other goal scoring. Now, I guess the real question is, who do we want to give up in order to bring JJ Peterka to the team? I mean, Luosterainen, I could probably give up you, but I wouldn't mind holding on to Luosterainen. Who else could we give up? Nyquist and maybe a third-round pick. So I think that's what we'll try. Nyquist and a third-round pick sent over to Utah for JJ Peterka. We have the cap space for JJ Peterka, which makes this very easy. Maybe it's going to cost us 2 third-round picks. We're still a little bit off. One thing I've completely forgotten about this entire video is I have trade difficulty on high. I feel like it really hasn't made that much of a difference. Maybe I have to add a couple extra draft picks into a deal, but at the end of the day, Nyquist doesn't have any value. 2 third-round picks and 2 7th-rounders. Like, I feel like this hasn't made the video significantly difficult. Every other restriction has made this way harder, but the trade difficulty increase, I haven't really noticed a difference. Now, things were looking pretty good for the Guardsmen. They were looking great. And then this team completely collapsed and basically only won like 3 games after the trade deadline. I think it was 6 games to be exact, but 18th in the entire league, a 41-33-8 record. We have to figure it out. One of these days, this team has to figure it out. But at the end of the day, how can we figure it out? I have set so many restrictions. We only have one more season to win a Stanley Cup. I don't know what moves we're going to make in order to improve this team, but we're going to have to do something. I feel like I've brought in the right pieces, but the right pieces just haven't worked here. We're not scoring enough goals. We're not keeping the puck out of the net, but can I really expect elite goal scoring when we don't have anyone above an 85 overall? I'm not too sure. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to quickly go through every top goal scorer in the NHL, and when I find a player who is an 85 overall or lower, I will let you know. I mean, Nikita Kucherov is pretty close. He's an 86 overall, but an 86 is not an 85, so we can't go with him. Mika Zibanejad did show up. He's an 83 overall. He scored 34 goals last season. Was he on the final year of his contract? It doesn't look like it, so we can't even pick up Zibanejad. But I think we need basically an old elite goal scorer, like Evgeny Malkin. Is he about to be a free agent? No, he isn't, but we could trade for him. Okay, I have a plan here, and this plan might not make any sense, but I have a plan. Just remember guys like Evgeny Malkin, Jeff Skinner, and then whoever else I find. Because we are going to go trade for Malkin. We're going to get Skinner. I don't think we have to trade for him. We're going to keep Jamie Benn. We're going to keep Patrick Laine. And then we might even go get Oliver Bjorkstrand. These are some of the top scorers that we can pick up in our price range and our overall range. Also, in case you were wondering, Joey Decord, 30 wins, 5 shots, a 904 and a 310. I will put a better offense in front of you, and that's going to lead to us having a better defense because we'll spend more time in the offensive zone. Malkin just retired and became a head coach. I didn't show that screen, but yeah, Malkin retired and became a head coach, so we won't be going after him. Jeff Skinner and Bjorkstrand, we'll try to make a move for you guys. Okay, so this deal is actually going to be very simple for us. Frank Nazar, you scored 11 goals for me last season. You shot 6.4%. I don't need a 6.4% shooter on my team. Bjorkstrand, you picked up a fair amount of goals with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm bringing you in. You're also going to give me a 4th, 5th, and 6th round pick as well. I think this is an absolute steal for us. Maybe we're not going to get all those picks, but if we can walk away with a 4th and 5th rounder, I think we're winning this trade. Moving on to our next trade, we're buying into the hype with Valeri Nichushkin. He might only be an 83 overall, but he scored 21 goals last season. This season coming up is all risk. It's high risk, high reward. We only have one more season to win a Stanley Cup. We have to take all the risks imaginable. We need goal scoring here. Now we're just going to continue to take risk after risk. Kuzmenko is going to be brought in next. He had 23 goals last season. I know your role is not going to be the same on our team, but at least you're shooting the puck, and that's all we need. Now, the actual draft itself was not that notable for us. The re-sign phase will be, though. Jamie Benn, I need to bring you back to the team. You want $5.9 million, I'll do 5.7 for the next 2 years. We don't need you for 2 seasons, we only need you for 1. I'll sign these rookies. Well, Duke and Boquist are both going to be leaving the team. We're going to go try to find one defenseman that can play some good minutes for us. And after we get that defenseman, we are going to run it back with basically the exact same team we have. But I shouldn't say it's the exact same team, because we made quite a few changes. Now we need ourselves one left defenseman. You know what? Samuel Bolduc, you actually might end up being that guy. I was not expecting you to play any minutes for me. That's the exact reason I let you walk. But maybe I actually will play you this season. Now this has been by far the hardest rebuild I've ever done. Like only being allowed to bring in 85 overalls and lower, no medium league potential players, no top 10 picks. Trade difficulty being on hard. This has certainly not been an easy rebuild, but even with all those restrictions, I think we've built a pretty decent team here. The coaching staff's not terrible either. It's just whether or not these guys can step up towards the end of the season. Can they get on a hot streak and actually make the postseason? Or is the lack of superstar talent going to be holding us back? I also want to point out we basically have like no playmakers here because our scoring has been so bad. We haven't had enough elite goal scorers. Somebody needs to shoot the puck. I don't know who that player is going to be, but somebody has to find the back of the net this season. So it all comes down to this, the final season. The Riverside Guardsmen have been given the most difficult challenge, a near impossible rebuild. They have one more chance to figure it out, one more chance to solve all of their past problems. They only get one more opportunity, and that opportunity starts right now. Now just wait 1 minute. Did we figure it out? The Riverside Guardsmen, 3rd in the entire league, a 40-17-7 record, 3.55 goals per game. The offense is leading to better defense. We're spending more time in the offensive zone because we're scoring more goals, which is helping our defense. This was the play all along. There's no way that we can bring in a bunch of superstar goal scorers, but how about we just bring in a lot of average goal scorers? How about we bring in 9 20 goal scorers? And that's exactly what we did. We went out there and found a bunch of 20 goal scorers, except for Nichushkin. He just stopped shooting the puck this season because apparently he can't shoot anymore. No, like seriously, bro has 3 goals. Eric Chernak has more goals than you. Okay, we might trade Nichushkin away, but you know what? He's also helping this team win. It doesn't matter. We went out there and just found a bunch of 20 goal players. We have a bunch of 20 goal scorers on this team, and that is leading to us having more success. Joey Decor's posting some amazing numbers. I don't want to make any changes. This is the first time we've actually been seeing success in this video. I don't want to touch anything because I'll probably screw it up. Now I'm just going to keep it $1.50 with you guys. I thought this video was going to be a bust. I was contemplating just scrapping this entire video until we reach this final season. The Riverside Guardsmen, 3rd in the entire league. I don't know why we're seeing success now, but I'm not going to complain. We are one of the best offensive teams in the league. We are one of the best teams in the league right now. That makes no sense, but it's all because of these goal scorers right here. Like, just look at the goal scoring. We had 7 players on this team picking up 20 goals. That is what the difference maker was this season. We had more guys scoring 20 goals than we've seen in the past. We also had Joey Decor putting up amazing numbers of 44 wins, 3 shots on 913 and 268. But the real question is, can any of this translate into the playoffs? Because we really don't know. We haven't made the playoffs yet in this video. It all comes down to this right here. So this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Since this video began, we've been looking forward to some postseason action. Well, we finally get that. A win in game number 1 is amazing. A win in game 2 is even better. We just allowed 11 goals. There is no comeback happening. Nope, we have dropped back-to-back games now. It's probably going to be 3 in a row. Somehow we're going to find a way to respond. But how on earth do you allow 11 goals in a postseason game? What are the Guardsmen doing? So we're moving on to the second round to take on the Montreal Canadiens, but I'm going to keep it a stack with you. I haven't got past that 11 goal loss yet. How on earth did we allow 11 goals? That just doesn't make any sense. We split the series with Montreal. Game number 5 is going to be a big one. We need to win that one, and not only are we winning it, but we're going to shut them out. So give me one more win and we can move on to the conference finals. We've made it to the conference finals. The Guardsmen have not played any postseason games up until this point, but now they've made it through 2 rounds, and it's time to make it through the conference finals. The conference finals are the next round up. We're dropping game 1, but we're going to respond in game 2. But after winning game 2, things are not looking good for us. Back-to-back losses. We're heading into game 5 elimination. The challenge might be coming to an end right now, unless we can make a 3-1 series comeback. Well, the first period is going to be a scoreless one. Moving into the second, can we get the offense going? Yes, we can. We have a 3-1 lead. I need some defense from this team, and very rarely do we get defense. But you know what's better than defense? Some more offense. A big 6-1 victory. We're moving on to the next game. So after that game number 5 win, let's just take it one game at a time. We can't get ahead of ourselves. Winning game 5 is great and all, but it means nothing if we don't win game number 6, so we have to lock in. It's going to be a scoreless first period once again. Moving into the second, can we pick up some goals? It doesn't look like it. The defense is finally collapsing on us. We're not going to be making the comeback in this one, and it looks like it's all over for the Guardsmen. The Guardsmen made a deep push in this video, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough once we reached the end. That 4-goal second period is what cost us. So it looks like the impossible challenge that we tried today is going to stay impossible because we're just not going to be able to complete it. The Dallas Stars would go on to win the Stanley Cup, taking down the Columbus Blue Jackets, but it's all over just like that. The Riverside Guardsmen, a team that started off as a 0 overall team with no NHL players, over the past 5 years, we tried to complete the impossible. We tried to build a Stanley Cup winning team without signing or trading for any players above an 85 overall, without trading or signing for any medium league potential players or higher, with no top 10 picks, and with trade difficulty on hard. Even with all of that, we were still able to build a decent enough team, a team that made it all the way to the conference finals and lost in game 6. But at the end of the day, we didn't reach our end goal, and our end goal was winning a Stanley Cup, but I guess that's not going to be happening today. It was a tough challenge, by far the toughest challenge I've ever done on this channel. Maybe sometime in the future we'll attempt it again, but if we're going to do that, I'm going to have to do my research, because clearly there is a method when it comes to doing a video like this. You need pure goal scorers, and only goal scorers.